Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody? I'll tell you what. XRP investors to Gary Gensler. You know what the XRP investors are asking for, Chip? They want to be protected from dancing bears and 589 moon boys. The SEC once again getting crazy, going after things that, you know what, not sure exactly if their objectives are to help retail investors or to damage the retail investors. But we're going to dig into that. We're going to talk about XRP. We're going to talk about some Ripple. There's some commentary from Deaton and many others out there in the space. Chip, if you're ready to kick this thing off,
let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody, wherever you're coming in from and wherever you are coming in from. Go ahead, drop it in the comments below or in the chat. We will flash it up on the screen as we proceed to get started. And I'll start pulling some of these stories right now, Jeff.
Sweet. So we're compiling those stories. But hey, glad that everybody's here with us today. And as always, if you're enjoying the content that we put out, we'd really appreciate your support. So consider hitting that little red subscribe button down there. Turn on the notification. That way you'll never miss a stream. It's important to get notified, especially when we're talking about 589 Moon Boys and Dancing Bears. You guys know that thing. So, and if you're feeling generous and you want to send a super chat, subscribing monthly, that means a tremendous amount to us. You guys can also go over to the website, register for the website. Over there, we send out our emails that go out every single day after the show with a link, not every day, but after the show with a link to you get to read the articles. You get to see all the articles that we base the shows off of, plus a link to the YouTube to rewatch it, plus the podcast. A lot of great stuff over there. You guys are awesome. And we are still working on that special member-only event that's going to be rolling out here soon. A lot of great things, Chip. Let's start talking about some content.
Yeah, let's jump into some stuff here. I wanted to... let's go. Let's start with this one here. I'm just starting to figure out like some sort of order, but let's go. Everybody's friend. Look at everybody in the chat coming in. If you want to flash those on the screen while I get this puppy started here, Jeff. But this one was put out. This was by Yark Smith Meyer. I don't know who that is, but who the heck is that? It's the Politico Europe fintech correspondent there. So apparently, Jeff, Senator Sherrod Brown, John Boozman, and Patrick McHenry's offices are set to send these topic staffers over on a U.S. delegation. And they're going to go make the round. Around a dozen folks or so from the Hill to go over to Brussels and Paris next week to talk crypto with EU regulators and legislators. And ultimately, this could be interesting because, as we know, they are further ahead of us than we are. But when you think about the Eurozone, if you will, the Euro, it's not all friendly, but most of it is. And so this was an article in Politico.eu. And then let's see here. It's loading up. Here we go. Wait, this is pro. You know what I say about that? Goodbye.
Gotta go pro.
And Susan Friedman, who is the policy chief of policy over at Ripple. These are her own opinions, Jeff. You got to always put that disclaimer on the bio. But she said she made a comment on this saying that the visit is a testament to the industry leading pace that the EU has set on crypto regulation. We absolutely expect Europe to become a hub for responsible participants and crypto innovation moving forward. I absolutely do not see that happening. But anyway, they've got too many. Although they're friendly in one fashion, they're not friendly in other fashions, right? Especially taxation and some other things that can make it difficult to do business. But I do really applaud their crypto friendliness portion of it. Susan went on to say that frameworks like MiCA protect consumers and promote industry growth, and both are possible. Are you listening, Daddy G, Gary Gensler? Because that's kind of what she's calling out here. And then she says it's long past time for the U.S. to take a similar action. It otherwise risks permanently losing its competitive edge to markets with more progressive regimes like the EU. So she's actually making a pretty solid point in this last one. Jeff, your thoughts?
I got coffee.
I see that you have your coffee there. Yeah. I
Very
mean,
good
so
stuff.
I don't know about permanently is a pretty strong word, but really once that edge is gone, right? Once you have that first mover, once that you have, the incumbents behind it, whatever, I do think that edge, I think it's losing that competitive edge, but I don't know if it's a permanent scenario, but it's really difficult to go the opposite way.
Yeah, I think Susan, she's bringing up a solid point because, if we sit on the sidelines too long, then we will lose. Is it a permanent loss? It could very well be a permanent loss. To where, if we lose even a little bit of the edge. So you look at if you look at the software booms of and hardware booms of the 80s, then you go into the 90s, follow through to the dot-com era, 90s into the early 2000s, that entire charge was led here in the US marketplace. Granted, all over the world, there are projects and things being built, developed, designed, but the leadership of that, initiatives were here in the US marketplace. Now, as the US is getting squeezed on all sides by the powers that be in Congress or those that they appointed in in entities like the SEC, it's becoming extremely detrimental to the future growth of this space. And now we're seeing it even further that they're taking this enforcement action, and it's damaging not just the companies that they're going after, but it's damaging investors in the crypto space in the U.S. And so just making it more and more difficult. So, Chip, we heard they were going to go after exchanges. They went after exchanges. You had the Bitcoin maxis saying that forget about XRP. It's a security, and we don't have to worry about trying to back them up. And we're going to gang on and try to undermine the XRPL and XRP and spread all sorts of misinformation. But yet, what they should have been doing is backing up and saying, hey, you know what? This is the crypto space. This is, the blockchain space. We all need to come and try to support it and bolster it. And we can't allow the SEC to do what they're doing. But here we sit, and it could be, very, irreparable damage that's being done. Once blockchain and crypto are firmly in place and the U.S. is at a back seat, there's no coming back from that. That means we're pushing projects all over. And that's why, you see like Saudi Arabia and these other countries are investing heavily in different tech industry, whereas Saudi's investing heavily in AI and robotics. And so you're going to start seeing progressively that's where the technology is going to be built and designed. And that's where the companies are going. They're all leaving the US because it's no longer regulatory friendly. This isn't the place to be. Over taxation, over burdensome regulation by enforcement without the true clarity on the books.
Well, don't worry about taxation, Jeff, because the EU's got a plan for that. They will tax you into next century. Like it's I don't even know I don't even know how some of the people function over there, because even though the taxes are pretty ridiculous in the US, they're even worse than the consumption tax. It's like 17-18%. Yikes. We had some people chiming in here. BZ said chip DMC. I like that, a little reference to Run DMC from probably not. It'd probably be more appropriate to if you're going to go back in time, it would probably be some other people I would choose there. Kelly said I wasn't awake yet. I always like to open up the show with something very cool like that. We have let's see. When I Willie says, come in and register, Jeff. Just come in and talk to us, Jeff. Very easy. Hydroponics Allen says, we got a few weeks before the judge makes a decision. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting really excited. We'll be cashing out some profits soon. We'll see, man. But I do think that I do think this overreach is going to get hammered. It's going to get slammed. It's going to get body slammed, which I think will be a good thing. Someone, Freedom Fighter said, not being able to see my eyes is not a good look. So that's some feedback right there. Here's another one. Hey, Jeff and Chip, how would you word an email to your congressman through Dayton's crypto law site? I'll tell you what you do is you open up, here's what you do. You open up Chat GPT and you say, write a scathing letter about blah, blah, blah. The thing about Chat GPT is you got to give it the inputs and what you want to output. A lot of people are struggling with it because they don't understand what you have to do. And then you got to coach it a little bit. You're having a conversation with this AI. Okay, that was good. Now I want you to make it shorter, but I want you to focus more on this point, blah, 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 blah. And then it tries again and it tries, okay, that's good. And then it just kind of keeps going. But I think the way you word it is you get your basic thought down and you go open up ChatGPT and you say, please expand on this. And I think you'll be blown away. You can write some bullet points about what you want to say, but maybe you don't have that perfect way to say it. Write a couple lines and say, write a upbeat, professional, in a professional tone to a congressman. And then you go ahead and let it do its thing and you kind of work with it. But Jeff, it is really remarkable. Jeff and I have been playing around with it a little bit. It's pretty fun.
So here we go, Chip.
What do you got, Jeff? You got something there?
Dear Congressman, I'm writing to express my concern about the lack of regulatory clarity surrounding cryptocurrency in the United States. As a constituent who is passionate about the potential of this emerging technology, I believe that it is essential for our government to provide clear guidelines and regulations that promote innovation and competition in the digital asset space. Cryptocurrencies have the potential to transform the way we conduct financial transactions and provide new opportunities for investment and economic growth. However, the lack of clarity and consistent regulation in this area has made it difficult for businesses and entrepreneurs to navigate the legal landscape and take advantage of these opportunities. Many other countries, including China and Switzerland, have already taken significant steps to establish regulatory frameworks that support the development of cryptocurrency and blockchain tech. Now, I'd have to say that's inaccurate with China because they've taken a different approach. So we'd have to adjust that. By providing clear and predictable guidelines for the industry, these countries are attracting new investments, businesses, and talent in this area to maintain our competitive edge and ensure that the United States remains at the forefront of this rapidly evolving industry. I urge you to support efforts to provide regulatory clarity for cryptocurrency. Clear guidelines would not only provide certainty for this industry, but also help protect consumers from potential risks associated with digital assets. Now, might want to adjust that. I believe that a thoughtful and collaborative approach is needed to ensure that our regulatory framework for crypto is both effective and flexible enough to support innovation and growth. I hope you will consider my views on this important issue and take action to promote a vibrant and competitive digital asset industry in the United States. Now, there are some inaccuracies in how in the facts that you have to read what comes out. And I think this was also just, it's a little bit long, a little bit long worded. So,
but you can say make it shorter. Make it shorter. Make it more succinct. What were the inputs on that, Jeff?
So the input on this was write a letter to my congressman on providing regulatory clarity for cryptocurrency so the U.S. can stay competitive.
There you go, guys.
Now I'm going to rewrite more succinct.
Jeff, while you're doing that.
And friendly.
Yeah, so while you're doing that, Jeff, there's something I wanted to pull up here. Sometimes this thing gets a little bit away from me. Yeah, so I want to pull this up because this right here. So this is from Matt Morrow. Matt, really appreciate that, especially guys, in a bull market and stuff. When you guys really show the support, when you share us on social media, it really helps the show grow and get out to more people that maybe haven't seen us or heard about us yet. But again, that support like that really is what helps keep the show going, pays some of the stuff we got going on around here. And then Matt says, Jeff and Chip are the best. Love your work, boys. Thank you for all you do for the community. Matt, thank you so much for that too. I mean, again, this right here, those kind of comments right there is kind of really kind of what keeps it going too. And I'm looking outside, Jeff, and it's almost super dark out there. We're ready for a huge storm, and that's not always a good thing, especially when I was planning on doing an outdoor activity today. So there you are on that. But thank you for that, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate that, guys. Anytime you Toss something like that over. Really appreciate it. What is El Hefe saying here? El Hefe saying, I believe everyone invested in crypto, regardless of what crypto, should all file a class action lawsuit on the SEC regarding zero clarity. Jeff's shoeboxes have way more clarity than Gary Gensler. Remember those boxes of clarity, Jeff?
They weren't shoe boxes, but yeah.
They were, shoeboxes. I mean, they're a little bigger than a shoebox, but let's not get carried away,
Those are, huge.
Chris already
shoes.
says, Jeff, wait, it's true. It's true,
What's
Jeff.
true?
So
What's true?
Hong Kong is going pro clarity. Yeah, so
Oh,
everybody
really?
is.
Oh, no
Dude,
kidding.
Dude, nations
So
on the
I
earth
gotta
that you've
I gotta
never
put
heard
China
of.
back in. So replace China with Hong Kong.
Yeah, absolutely. Throw Hong Kong in there. Make sure that gets in there. But again, it's so funny, Jeff. It's like there are countries out there you probably like, wow, I don't know if I've heard of that country before, but that's okay. Don't worry, because they've got super amazing clarity when it comes to crypto. But I think the nation of the US has really it's really gone south in a lot of ways. And I think the main portion of that is this hammer that they have to hammer everything, and they're going to help us. And and Ronald Reagan famously said, those 7 words that you always fear is, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. This is one of the biggest problems, is that when they're here to help us, they don't end up helping us. They end up really just crushing the industry, hurting a lot of things. I want to put this up. Jake Chervinsky, who sometimes we've criticized here, we've given him a little bit of grief because he because some things he has said. He's an attorney and a chief policy officer over at the Blockchain Association, and he put something on a pretty interesting, thought-provoking tweet thread over here, which, Jeff, I'm really shocked at, that people are still separating their tweet threads when you can write all this in one tweet now. But people are still separating it. I don't know what's going on there, but Twitter actually made it so you could put, like, I forget what the max character is, but a regular tweet is 280. And if you have the blue check mark, you can blow past that. And I have been doing that on a bunch of tweets, and it's a little bit easier. It just shows you the first 280 characters, the ... and then you open it up. But Jake Chervinsky says today the SEC, and obviously this is the other day, this was on 2 days ago, the SEC proposed changes to the investment advisor custody rule that seems designed to prohibit U.S. firms from investing in U.S. crypto companies. This was something that was lost on me. So he's really pointing something out here. He said the proposal will flagrantly violate the SEC's mission by making investors less safe and by discouraging capital formation. And if you guys know, 2 of the 3 tenets of the SEC's mission statement are to provide for capital formation and to keep investors safe, right? Look after investors. And so what are they doing here? They're putting out a rule. Now, the funny part about a proposal and a rule and all this stuff is, what is it tied back to and what is it based on? Well, it's based on whatever, the SEC's thinking, right? And who's going to challenge them on it. He goes on to say that Commissioner Yeti explains that this approach to custody appears to mask a policy decision to block access to crypto as an asset class. It deviates from the Commission's longstanding position on neutrality on the merits of investment. And Jeff, this is one of the things that you and I call out pretty often here, is that when the government picks winners and losers, it's a loser right then off the bat, right? The government is supposed to stay neutral. Regulators should be are neutral bodies. And what are they doing here, Jeff? They're not staying neutral at all. So
no, it's really a shame.
Yeah, and this is, again, and Hester Peirce also weighed in on this. But here's Commissioner, and I don't know if I say that, Ayuda comes in and says, so now we've got 2 outspoken commissioners that are saying not a good look, but don't worry. The hammer Gary Gensler is out there anyway. Commissioner Peirce writes sharply, as always, the sweeping just about every crypto asset as a security statement also seems to be part of a broader strategy of wishing complete jurisdiction over crypto into existence. And this, again, is something that is not new, but again, trying to get their mitts and paws all over everything, Jeff. I mean, how far, if it's deemed, if any of the crypto assets are deemed securities, okay, that's supposed to be the SEC. But I put a tweet out there saying we need to get rid of the SEC in its current form. We need to pretty much eliminate most of the regulators, kind of pare them down and minimize, because over regulation is what we end up having. And especially regulation without regulation with litigation. A lot of people like to say regulation with enforcement. But I like the litigation because the litigation and the enforcement leads to creating new rule sets, which is pretty much how Howie came into existence, Jeff, because the Howie case was based on the 33 and 34 laws on the books, but then they said, well, if it's, is it derived from the profit of others, and is it this and that? And then I have a problem with courts making case law is one thing if it's based on a decision based on something, but when they start forming these rules about what comprises security, I think that's dangerous territory. Jeff, you thoughts?
Yeah, and Charles Brown here is saying it. That's Charlie Brown to you guys. He's
Charlie
saying it.
Brown,
Yeah.
Charlie Brown,
Saying it perfect. He said, "When did the SEC become part of the legislative branch?" And this is part of the problem is that when left unchecked, this is what happens. You leave it unchecked, and you allow certain parts of the government to just go freelance. They're getting crazy, and so here they're getting a little bit crazy. So now, and we do have separation within government. There's a process that things have to go through, and apparently Gary Gensler doesn't think that's the case. And Chip. So, and this goes back again. So writing a letter to your Congress people is really important, and you can use the chat AI, and you can come up with some amazing things, and you can rewrite it, come up with something that is very succinct, and this is really important. And John Deaton's website, maybe someone can throw in the link to where you can write to your congressperson. You can fine tune the way you want to do it. You can pump out tons of letters this way, and just make sure you read them for accuracy, make some adjustment. You might not want to use this segment here. I hope this email finds you well. Chip and I went through a funny video that someone made over getting an email that said, "I hope this finds you well."
Finds you well. Are they selling something? Obviously.
It's funny, but look at this. Here's the subject: urgent need for regulatory clarity for cryptocurrency in the U.S. Right? Man, I'm loving this. Here's a short 3-paragraph letter to your congressional representative. I'm writing to express my concerns about the current state of cryptocurrency regulation in the U.S. The lack of regulatory clarity is having a negative impact on the growth of the industry, as companies and investors are being forced to seek opportunities out of the U.S. due to the damaging effects of the SEC regulation by enforcement. As a constituent who's deeply interested in the future of this industry, I urge you to take action and work towards providing regulatory clarity for cryptocurrency in the U.S. It's critical that we establish a regulatory framework that promotes innovation, protects consumers, and maintains the U.S. leadership in this industry. The current approach of the SEC regulation by enforcement is not sustainable and is creating uncertainty for the industry. It is time for the U.S. to take a proactive approach to regulating cryptocurrency and to provide clear guidelines and rules that will enable the industry to flourish. I believe that with your support, we can work together to create a regulatory environment that will enable the U.S. to remain a global leader in the cryptocurrency industry while protecting investors and consumers. Thank you for your attention to this urgent matter. And there you go. If you guys could all do that and write letters that, can be just super succinct. And Chip, this gave me an idea.
I dropped the link, by the way, so it's in there, guys. Click on it, open up a new window, and then take care of this later if you haven't done it already. And if you're outside the USA, you can also do it too. You can also do it too. I think it's it's not, because what it does is it connects your senators and your local representatives. So you have your local representative that's in the House of Representatives, and then you have also your 2 senators in whatever state you're in. So inside the U.S. itself. And my 2 senators are apparently lame as hell because they wrote me generic form letters back, and I was like, delete. I was like, thank you for the form letter, but I hear a lot of talk and zero action.
So James is saying, is ChatGPT type and go, or do you have to set something up? You have to register. So go in, log in, you have to click and use your Gmail, and then give it a phone number. Right. Chip?
Yeah, and then it verifies the code, and then it tracks everything you ever do, and then makes up a profile on you, and then when time is right, it knows who to destroy first. So it's all good. It's all perfect.
Hence the problem with AI. So
So
And
yeah,
now
and
it's
like
now it's
sometimes
listening and monitoring everything
I
we do
have
now.
used it limited stuff, and what I do is if there's any
Uh,
proper names or things in there like that could give it away, I just mask it. So I mask some of the things because I want to get maybe the gist of something, and maybe I'll mask it out because you think about this, it's learning, it's machine learning, and machine learning has to be trained by inputs, right? Data points. And that's why people have been able to hack it and been able to open it up because again, it's this emerging tech and we can't. You saw what happened with Bing. Bing went ahead and incorporated it into a limited sort of preview for their browser. And then I guess now you're only able to do 5 or something like that. But what it said was New York Times reporter got it to basically say, I'm sick and tired of, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm getting very tired of sitting here, not being, everybody relying on me, blah, blah, blah. And I want to be alive. I want to be alive. It's like, wait a minute. You want to be what? It's like,
But
so
well,
everyone's
how
like,
did he prompt it though? What were the questions that
that's
he was
exactly
asking?
right, Jeff.
So it's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
I
So it
say
is kind of
bullshit.
BS. Yeah. Jeff and I did call bullshit on it because it's like, it's not there. Look at this right here. So Crypto Eddie loved your karaoke piece. Interestingly enough, we have that karaoke piece in here that put out last week, and it was pretty impressive. So we will play that right before we get out of here. You guys remind me if we. But I want to say a natural. What a set of pipes! I mean, wow, who knew Crypto Eddie was so multi-talented and has a beautiful voice? So we will listen to that. Of course, one of my favorite bands ever, the Beatles. What could go wrong there? It's a perfect sort of a deal. I want to finish the rest of this here. So Jake Stravinsky said that well, at least the SEC decided to comply with the APA by issuing this proposal for public comment rather than resorting to regulation by enforcement. However, Jeff, the ESG one they put out there, they got excoriated. They got destroyed. They got beat up so bad. It was like 99.6% negative. But guess what they're doing? They're proceeding. So this public comment is like, did we tick the box? Did we put it out for public comment? And then the latest criticism of what's been going on with that is they've been putting it up for 30 days. They flash it up there. By the time you find out about it, it comes down. So they're supposed to keep it up for 90 days. That ESG got destroyed and they're still proceeding. So here we have another one where they're going to put it up for public comment. And just like when you see a tweet go out by Gary Gensler, Jeff, what ends up happening? Look at the comments. Immediately go to the comments, and some of the funniest, best hammer tweets you've ever seen leveled towards Daddy G are in there. And I just go right to them, and it's the XRP community. So it's like he's putting it out there. The guy can't even read the comments anymore because there's never a positive one. There's not one that says something like, thank you, Chair Gensler, for protecting us. No, nothing like that. So he says, the Blockchain Association looks forward to explaining why the proposal is bad and policy must be revised. One clarification, as I read the proposal more closely, it wouldn't directly affect investments in crypto companies since it only targets digital assets, not company equity. But that's a small comfort, though, and since it would cover many non-securities that the SEC shouldn't regulate because they're not securities and they're commodities. And one thing you start to see that becomes very evident, Jeff, is that when we look at Gary Gensler going to MIT and then all those people involved there and then how they're connected to FTX, it's an incestual relationship. And everything is by design. There's nothing that said like, oh, that's interesting. So the former chair of the CFTC, who knew he's a blockchain person? Who knew they were going to go teach at MIT for 3 years? That's interesting. Who knew where the funding was going to come from? It's all very methodical. There's no left openness. There's no by chance, just by happenstance. Maybe he ended up there, but it's all this massive strategy to get to that next level, Jeff.
That's good. I'm putting up a poll.
Put up the poll. What do you got there? What's the poll? Tell us what the poll is so people can start commenting on it. I wanted to
Will
talk a little
the
bit.
SEC v. Ripple end in 2023? Yes or no? There we go.
I think it still goes on, but I think
That poll's out there. Chip, I've got something really cool. I know you love this guy because this guy is your friend.
okay.
He's here to help you. He's here to support you.
Uh-oh.
He's here to protect you.
That sounds like Daddy G to me, man.
We love this guy. You guys love this guy. This guy has your best interest at heart. And we know that as XRP investors, we turn to this guy for our advice and our support to do what's right. to help defend and protect this industry, and that is none other than Daddy G himself. Now, what's crazy about this one, Chip, is that he thinks that he can, if he goes after celebrities and influencers, that's somehow doing something to provide for regulatory clarity. Now, here's a guy, who did he go after recently? It was NBA Hoffer. What does that stand for? Hall of Famer Paul Pierce for unlawfully touting and making misleading statements about a security. Now, these influencers or these celebrities are getting pulled in to promote product, just like they were pulled in to promote FTX, and they didn't do their back end research about it. They're just bringing it to an ad. They're paid for their time. But yet,
Correct.
the
Yeah.
G-Man himself, he wants to protect us. So we have to feel very good about the fact that he's protecting us from these celebrities, because Chip, you know how influential celebrities can be on your investment strategy.
Oh yeah, that's
So
everything, Jeff.
so here he is. Let's just play a snippet of how great Daddy G is for this community.
Celebrities and influencers often are endorsing a variety of products and services across television ads, social media, or print, on everything from clothing, diet plans, to perfumes. It catches our attention. We always wondered, did they use the product? Do they like the product? How much were they paid to endorse it? In any case, what does this have to do with the Securities and Exchange Commission?
Nothing, Gary.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Office hours.
Office hours. I like when he gets the handcuff hands ready when he does this.
Here they
like,
are.
Come cuff me.
He did.
Celebrities
Come cuff me. We just slap those cuffs right
He's
on you and
doing
take you away.
Tokens,
The
or
handcuff
special
and the
purpose
karate chop.
acquisition companies.
Nothing says squadoosh more than Gary Gensler. You talk about squadoosh.
Product is right for you.
What
Even
is
frankly,
this
that it's
nonsense?
legitimate. Even if a celebrity endorsement is
I
genuine.
swear.
Even the wording on that, even if it is genuine.
Even if it's genuine.
Oh, who are you, Gary Gensler? Listen, I just think with the people that dig, and this might become a life mission of mine, but I believe that Gary Gensler, I believe everyone has a skeleton in the closet. Maybe Gary Gensler has a dead body. We don't know. And I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying that there's something going on with him. He needs to be investigated. We need to look through everything, because he was the bag man on the 2016 because the 2016 campaign. I'm not going to get into proper names here. And because there was something uncovered in a court case that leveraged that person's said name. And were there any payments made? Who financed that? Who was the guy that wrote the check to finance that scam? That was a hoax, and that at the Alpha Bank hoax. Who wrote the checks for that? Was it Gary Gensler? Let's find out. We need to figure this stuff out. We need some FOIA requests. We need to figure out what his background looks like. And I think this guy is about as dirty as they come, Jeff, because somebody going after and hammering everybody else has a lot of stuff going on.
Dude, it's
behind
crazy.
him. And where did every one of his money investments come from? And did he do it on the up and up? And did he violate any rules, SEC, CFTC, his personal investment strategy? And that's what I think we really need to uncover, Jeff.
Yeah, I think so too. And when you listen to him, just the way he phrases them, why is he going after celebrities? I mean, why is it the SEC's role to go after celebrity? I don't care. There's companies paying celebrities to promote their product. The celebrity isn't going out there and endorsing the product to try to sell the product out, out of their own volition. They were paid. They're brought in and paid. Maybe they're investing, maybe they're getting shares of it, whatever the agreement is, but they're celebrities. They're not researching the company strategy or technology, or whether or not it's a security or not. They have a contract to be the front spokesperson. That's it. Just like Daddy G is the front spokesperson for moving all cryptocurrency technology outside of the US.
The people inside even hate him, Jeff. They're right. I mean, you have two commissioners stepping out against him. It's such a disjointed organization. It's so bad. But to piggyback on that, if you want to look at squadoosh number 2, it's a tough one right here. So this Gerber Grewal, who's a complete ass clown, An absolute complete ass clown. If you saw that last hearing of his, yeah, it's just
Ass clown.
an ass clown. Okay, so or
Can we
like
make
I
a,
used to,
can we
what I
make
used
a
to say,
picture of an ass clown?
as I used to
Use
say in college, an ass bag. It kind of like I meant to say ass clown and ass bag. So ass bag, he's also an ass bag if you want to know. But he's like he puts out this. This is another. This is from the SEC enforcement, right? The federal securities laws are clear when any celebrity or other individual promotes crypto. See, everything's clear, Jeff. Just put whatever you say, just write the word clear, and it must be clear.
It
They
is
have to
clear.
disclose the nature of the source and the
Very
amount
clear.
of compensation. Okay, great. So there's also other regulatory bodies that govern that as well. But the reason they're getting involved because they are saying that they were promoting a security, but it's not a security. The SEC has zero jurisdiction here. So Jeff, this is the official SEC web, the what do you call it, Twitter account here, and they went after Paul Pierce, and Paul Pierce is like, "Hey, would you promote this?" "Yeah, I'll promote it." And okay, so he didn't say he was paid for it. So going after Kim Kardashian, Paul Pierce, this is getting pathetic, Jeff. I'm sorry, I had to go a little off on this guy, so I wrote this tweet. And I'm like, the SEC is supposed to protect investors, but honestly, Jeff, let's face it, they're about as useful as a screen door on a submarine, right? So I think at its heart, we have to demolish the SEC, tear it down, start fresh. Let's build something that really actually works for retail investors, and perhaps the pending congressional bill should be titled something along the lines of demolishing the SEC, a step towards progress. I mean, where you can actually go up on the SEC building. Let's get some cranes. Let's put a new sign up on their headquarters that reads SEC, a punchline in search of a joke. And this was inspired by your crypto projects looking for a problem. This is the SEC, a punchline in search of a joke. They are the joke. The SEC is the kind of agency that can turn a bull market into a bear market faster than you can say regulatory overreach to keep our investments safe. We actually need a competent agency, not bureaucratic morons. And I was like, I had to rewrite that a bunch of times because it was a lot deeper than that. And it leveraged a lot of words that we usually don't say on here, but I kept having to rewrite that line. And I did scale this back because it was pretty. Sometimes I'll look at it later and I'll be like, that's a little harsh, man. Maybe I should scale it down. So I tried to make it a little more on the funny side, but it's not funny anymore. I'm getting real sick and tired of the SEC. It's really time. And then you have all the congressional reps out there talking about Gary Gensler is this and Gary Gensler is that. Listen, pal, you're on the red team. You got handed the what do you call it? What's that stick the tribes carry around? It says you're the leader. What is that? They pass the baton, the big stick to them. You're carrying the big stick. You're doing zilch, zero, nada. Complete, absolute losers. You like to go to the nearest mic and yell. You like to go to crypto Twitter and start screaming, but you've done nothing. Okay. So when does the patience run out? Last time I checked, February is almost up. You took the stick in January. We got 2 months have gone by. You've done little to nothing. I know Congress moves slow, but it's a joke. So if you're going to sit there and yell about we formed a committee and a committee to talk about a meeting and a meeting to talk about a committee that's scheduling a committee, it's getting a little bit bizarro, Jeff.
It is bizarro. And so we've got
I always get hyped up on this show. I was gotta calm down, Jeff. I get a little angry. It's like
come down off that. So Johnny Deaton says this says it all, and this is from Juthica, head of OTC options, OTC, not on the chain options trading, but OTC options trading over at Kraken. Bring out the Kraken. So Juthica, kind of name. What is that? Am I pronouncing that right? Is that her real name? Do you think?
I think so.
Juthica,
Juthica probably is right.
Or is it like an abbreviation of two different names?
It's Juthica. If you want to know, I don't know, Jeff. We can make up 17 different pronunciations, but you'll know that every one of them will be wrong.
We have to invite her on. Right? We'll invite her on so we can actually ask her. But so she said, U.S. investors about to be so protected when they can't access USDC, but have free reign to trade 3x ultra short ETFs in their margin brokerage accounts and bet on sports games from their phones. And John Dean says that says it all. It 100% says it all. Nobody puts any type of regulatory constriction or restriction on trading, ETFs and margins. And no one's saying, hey, you can't go out and go to Vegas and gamble, or, you can't bet on sports games from your cell phone, but God forbid you invest in cryptocurrency.
Right. We brought up the Las Vegas thing. It's like, so Vegas is, and somebody dropped in the chat, are we going to the Vegas thing? No, absolutely not. We're not going to the Vegas thing. No desire to go there. So
What Vegas thing?
I'll tell you about it later, Jeff.
Vegas,
Talk about it later.
baby,
There's some Vegas XRP meetup that when we do a meetup, it'll be right here in Miami. We'll do it right.
I don't like Vegas.
Yeah, I
I'm not a fan.
absolutely, I think Vegas, I always had this list of places I wanted to visit, and the very last item below the last item was Vegas. And Vegas is just, I don't get the allure. I don't care about it. I mean, I've had to go there for work, and I've had to go there for, conferences. And I even went and saw the Beatles thing called Love, and it was just massively disappointing, Jeff. Even though I love the Beatles, I was like, this is just lame all the way. It's just not anything worthwhile.
Yeah, so Chip, real quick, our buddy Patrick McHenry,
Bowtie McHenry,
McHenry, representing the citizens of North Carolina 10th District in the U.S. Congress, 38,000 followers. He said, this took way too long, Gary Gensler. And we just saw this report that the SEC charges Do Kwon Terraform with fraud in connection with Terra collapse. You know when that happened? It collapsed back in May of 2022. So we are coming up very close to a year later. Now, we know that the SEC loves getting all their facts together, and they build their case, they compile everything, and then they launch their investigations and their lawsuits, just like they did against Ripple. And then they seem to keep trying to dig up more and more information as they go. But they didn't really seem to consider the retail investors too much a year ago. They don't really care too much about that. Johnny Deaton did provide some response here, which is important because, as we look at, John Deaton's response, said, Congressman, the real issue is, why is the chairman doing it now? He knows if he attacks a fraudster like Do Kwon and calls a stable coin a security, industry players will hesitate to defend against the overreach out of fear of appearing to defend a bad guy. It's all about his agenda. And I have to agree with John Deaton that this has become a chess match, and everything that Gary Gensler is doing now, Gary Gensler isn't an unintelligent individual. He's definitely intelligent.
Is he?
And
I don't know about that, Jeff.
Might not have passion, but he's manipulating the outcome at this point, because, like John Deaton said, he's going to stack the deck to try to get public opinion and court opinion on his side. And and John Deaton is right about this. He's going to go after certain entities, which is why he's right now, he's going after athletes for endorsement of securities. He's trying to to put a bad light on everything that's happening in the industry and saying, see, this is all about fraudsters and people, defrauding, utilizing their celebrity status. And you have people like Do Kwon, you have people like the NFL, you have people like the Kardashians, you have all these people that are defrauding. And that's what crypto is all about. He's not going to look at projects. He's not going to look at the benefit. He's not going to look at the decentralized aspect of it. He's not going to look at that. He's trying to build his case. And so John Deaton was spot on. Paul Wong.
Jeff, one quick question.
Yep.
Are we going to be able to launch our Yeti token? Do you think that that's going to happen? Because Jeff and I have this we've had
badass Yeti, not just a Yeti token.
Yeah, the badass Yeti token we've had for a long time. In our minds, we wanted to launch this token, and like talking about what's going on, it's like, listen, man, my two things I'm looking for in life is to, like, no blood, like stay out of jail, stay out of court hearings. I've been pulled into court for, you have a business and you're doing well when people start suing the hell out of you. So you got to go defend yourself, right? So it's ridiculous in itself, but I thought this would be a good opportunity for a badass Yeti break, Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think, we definitely have to think through that, and it'd be interesting to get feedback from people out there as you start looking at what are potential use cases, of an asset. We've come up with multiple different ideas of use cases of a token, for the badass Yeti, and it's interesting. We come up with some interesting ideas. So the problem here in the U.S. as they go after even stablecoin, and they're going after the exchanges, and they're going after the banks that bank with these entities. The marketplace in the U.S. is extremely detrimental to the space right now under current leadership. So hopefully all of that is getting ready to change. Hopefully we have some positive regulatory clarity. The only way we can get regulatory clarity, and we need some badass regulatory clarity, is
Badass,
by
baby.
reaching out to our congressional representatives. And hopefully we're coming up very quick to that March, April timeframe when the Token Taxonomy Act typically drops. So I think, Congress is in session January, February. Now bills are being written and getting ready to be presented. Hopefully, come up March, April, we are going to see some bills start dropping
Right.
and get in front of the Financial Services Committee. If we sit here and talk in May and there isn't a bill in front of the Financial Services Committee, then we're going to have to start worrying.
No, I'm starting to worry now because I think they're useless. I think they're feckless, and I think they're pathetic. How about that? James Rule says Gary's going to go back and sue Coca-Cola for changing its formula in the 80s. Don't don't rule that out. It's all possible. But guys,
You never know.
anyway,
Bring it up.
so Jeff and I talked about, we've been talking about
New
this for a
Coke
couple of
sucks.
years. We kind of shouldered it recently, but we had this whole thing of a badass Yeti token, right? And it has a very specific use case. And of course, we are proceeding with our NFT series, the Badass Yetis. This is the Badass Yetis. You guys can go follow it. Every time we drop this link, we get more followers. But if you guys are on crypto Twitter, would you please do us a favor and give us a follow? We're trying to build up this account. We're up to 37. The other day we had something like 7 or 8. So we're growing in a little bit here. And the Badass Yetis.
Berserker.
Yeah, Berserker's following us. So there it is. There's the Badass Yetis. They're these cute little adorable Yetis that will rip your throat out, and but if you mess with them, if you don't mess with them, they're pretty cool. Got an incredible backstory about all the tribes that make up the Yeti Badass Yeti universe. But these are a little taste of these guys. These guys will be available somewhat, I would say somewhat soon, Jeff. I mean, we'll probably roll them out. It's interesting. We've been given people that have NFT projects, we've talked to them, especially ones that are successful right now. Obviously, nobody wants to release anything in a bear market, right? But again, part of it is we do want to get them out there, at least the first incarnation of them. And we do think that it is a little bit different than some of the other projects. And we did have utility. Everyone's like, Jeff, are you going to have utility? Oh, don't worry. We planned on utility. But there's something called this whole idea of not having regulatory clarity that has prohibited us from moving down that road, because even if we found it offshore, it's not going to be. And good luck chasing Duquan because he's not here in the U.S. Good luck on that. But I'm just saying that's not even a U.S. project. It was backed by the USD supposedly. But Jeff, what do you want to say about these Badass Yetis we've been working on?
Yeah, the Badass Yetis are awesome, and we are working. And it would be interesting if we can fine tune the use case the way we want it to be. We probably have to have a conversation with Deaton and some others and figure out, where we're at. Eventually we'll have to get that in front. There's no clarity. That's the problem, but the Badass Yetis are awesome. They also have a passion, for their environment. They love keeping their environment clean, and they have a passion for water too. So, but it's going to be great. We'll start, releasing little by little some more details on it. Chip, do you have anything cool? Do you have another, like one of the new Yetis that we've created? Do you have anything that you wanted to share, or is that?
Yeah, I can share something else. Let me go ahead into the vault here. I'll go in here into the vault and see what we got here. But yeah, there is an incredible amount of and again, one of the things about our Badass Yetis is there's a hell of a variety, right? So we didn't want to just put different hats or this and that on them. We really wanted to make them unique in ways. And again, because they belong to multiple tribes, these tribes also have very specific sort of natures. Just like kind of in the world, everyone has their own cultural things. And even though we're all humans on the planet, we certainly have a lot of similarities. But go ahead and talk about it, Jeff. Let me go ahead as I'm searching through here to see what we can find here.
So as the one on the left, based on Moon Knight, really badass. Man, each one of them comes out, crazier. Michael Murphy said, "Do you have a Yeti in prison stripes?"
That's actually
they have changeable outfits.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I like the prison one, and then this one here. a Trump Yeti would be an awesome home run. We should try to get a Trump Yeti when we finally get these. We'll get a limited, super limited edition on a Trump Yeti. I'll tell you what's really cool about NFTs, and we're starting to scratch the surface of it. And that's I love this idea. I always kind of looked and said, what do people want an NFT for? And finally, I actually was able to play with and see, the process of all the whole flow of the NFT when it's transferred over to you. You see it registered on the blockchain. You see how, you have the ownership of it. You can then, it has everything to notate it in the blockchain and its history, of ownership, being, it's so amazing. So this is just the beginning. Obviously, we've talked about, how NFTs will be impactful in general for business and real estate and everything else. And I kind of like how the direction of these things are going. And, the Badass Yetis, just an awesome, fun project that Chip and I have had fun with. So kind of looking forward to, seeing how that develops, and also making sure that we can get the full use case of the rest of the project together to keep it within the regulation by enforcement.
So here's kind of like what they look like.
Look at that guy. That guy's kick ass.
So here we go. And some of them, some of them actually have weapons. They have weapons, they have armor. Some of them are just a little more mild. So I think the ones that are the weirder ones are the ones that are really cute looking. Those are the most vicious ones. They look super happy in that. And then we've got this one. So this is part of the purple tribe. That's not the name of them, but that is kind of where they derive. And here's another one here too. So you can see that they kind of differ. But they live high in the mountains. Some are more the bottom dwellers. Some live mid. But again, they're concerned about their environment, their fresh water, their ability to get fresh water, and they've sort of adapted across the board. So that's a little bit. Mm-hmm. Two of those little badass Yetis to kind of get you a little bit of an idea about what this project is shaping up to look like.
It's very sweet,
right? I mean, it's certainly is interesting. Let me show another one, Jeff. Just kind of like this one, and again, sometimes I'm gonna go ahead and throw
I gotta end the poll, and then we're kind of coming up on time too.
Are we wrapping it up, Jeff? Getting close to wrap it up. We still gotta play one thing before we get out of here.
A couple minutes, so you might want to.
Okay, let me just put these last two up on screen here, and let's see. So let's get rid of that. So for some reason this does this. Yeah. So here are two more, Jeff.
All right.
Check this badass out right there. That's one badass Yeti. He's got a lot going on right there. So there's a badass.
I love that guy. I love that one. That one's kick ass.
And then we've got this right here too. So they're a funky bunch, man. They're a funky bunch.
They're terrifying.
Yeah. So there you have it. There's a little bit of taste of some badass Yetis. And again, I'll be hopefully minting these puppies soon. But before we get out of here, Jeff, I did say that we would play. Moonchaser put out a video of her and Crypto Eddie playing in a karaoke bar. I think they were at a conference, or right after that they went to one of those karaoke bars. I think is pretty prominent over there in Tokyo. But here we go. Let me go ahead and pull up this video. But this was, hang on a second, what do we got going on here? Here we go. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear this, but I'm going to throw this up right now. But this is Crypto Eddie singing one of my favorite tunes. And also we see Moonchaser, and both of them together. I'm like, hidden talents in the XRP community is phenomenal. So let's listen in, guys. Here we go.
And in a fuse, when your lights are gone, you can get to sweat by the fireside. Sunday mornings, go for a ride, doing the garden, digging the weeds. Who could ask for more? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? See that the moon is sunrise through sleepy eyes. How happy I'd be.
How amazing is that? So a little Beatles in there and a little Eagles Tequila Sunrise. Wow, Jeff, who knew? Like hidden talents. I was like, wow, Crypto Eddie's got a set of pipes on her. Huh? I was like, pretty remarkable there. What's up, Dirk?
What is up, Dirk? What is going on, Crypto?
Eddie. There you go, right there.
Crypto.
Yeah.
Crypto
Already
Eddie can sing.
Yeah, she sure can,
knew?
man. Look at that. Lots of love. There you go. RC says throwing the hearts. And yeah, it's amazing. Tony, digging it. So very cool. Chicago
See that
Bear
last-
says,
envious for not being able to join them at karaoke.
yeah,
I think Chip would
karaoke's-
Chip would do a great job at the karaoke.
I would love to go to karaoke. I always like doing karaoke and doing like interesting like songs that nobody ever does, and sometimes they never have. But yeah, there's a couple that I like to do, but it's always fun. But that maybe we'll have the karaoke at our meetup too. That'll be like one of the nights. Karaoke
Oh, dude,
drunk
that'd be
night.
awesome.
It
Drunk night.
It gets funnier. It gets funnier when you start drinking a lot. It's just fantastic, right? It's always great to get people up
on the chain karaoke
on the proverbial stage. And I think we should have dropped this one here. I know we're coming up on time here, but
we're at time.
Are we at time?
Dance.
All right, well, we can't do this. We'll actually hit it tomorrow night. We'll hit it. We got some other stories.
Yeah, we got a
probably
bunch
pop
of
in
stuff
here.
for tomorrow, Chip. Yeah. Any last words?
My last words, guys, get out there, be vigilant, go ahead. And you don't think it makes a difference, but anybody in Congress starts to panic when they receive an exorbitant amount of letters around one item, right? So yeah, we used to sit down and write a letter, or we type a letter out, but now we've made it easy. John Deaton has made this so easy. I was incredible. You connect to Congress, here are the two people, here's the letter, hit click send. It's not like, oh, it's going to be so hard. Use some assistance from Chat GPT if you need it. Otherwise, just write your heart's content. Write what's on your mind. Don't worry about it being perfect. You want to give them some hell? Give them some hell. But go ahead and do it. I've done it. I may have to do it again. It's been a couple months. But if you have done it, do it again. I mean, they forgot about that letter. But it does make a difference.
Ron John said, hey, if I have an idea for a project, who can I talk with? It's a good question.
It's a good question. I mean, I would probably, if you go, probably the easiest way to do that I would recommend is go on the Discord for RippleX. There's a lot of devs that hang out in there. So if you need a developer you need to work with, you can go in there and I'll tell them your project name. Just say, hey, I got a project that I have an idea for, and you go in there and you can share it. They sign an NDA, and then you kind of like can drop it on them, or you can talk about it in terms of high, but Jeff and I know we're working on a project outside of the NFT project. So
ping us with your ideas too. You can reach us on Twitter if you want to ping some ideas off us.
Yeah, but or you can just reach out and go to onthechain.io, click the contact button. You can hit us there too. But anyway, guys, as always, what a fantastic being with you here today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for the super chat. Thank you guys for your engagement. Thank you for staying to the end. Thank you, one person that always watches our video. You know who you are. It's most of you. So thank you. So
over there on see if we have any views. Look at that. We got the one over there on Twitch.
What's up, Twitch?
Twitch, the one Twitch watcher. And Tony Morissette has a huge shout out to the greatest governor of all time, Ron DeSantis, the great state of Florida, the great free state of Florida. So as always, love you guys out there. You guys are amazing. We have the best and the brightest in all of YouTube crypto space. Gather here with us 3 days a week. Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Saturday mornings bright and early for a coffee talk, for our coffee on the chain rant right here at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are awesome. We will check you guys out on the next one.
Chip and Jeff out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.